your Feel Good Breakfast show indeed. Welcome back. And the question is, what's the difference? And this is brought to you by Woolworths. It is a series that will take you on an adventure to superb locations where sustainable farming practices are used to farm for the future. In our very first installment, we visit Graaff to learn more about Stonefruit and Woolworths' exclusive Flavourburst range.
My name's Colin van den Heuvel. They call me a specialist technologist. I look after quality, innovation, standards in fruit at Woolworths. With all our growers, we do not deal with people that do not take eating quality of fruit as the number one.
My name's Robert Graaff and I'm the Managing Director of Graaff. We've been farming for 25 years and we actually in our 19th year of supplying Woolworths. We share a common philosophy in terms of, our slogan is taste the future, so we're very much focused on taste. We want people to eat our fruit and come back and buy more.
Obviously Woolworths is a proudly South African company, and it's in our DNA that we support local.
Personally, I think this area is very good for growing stone fruit. The reason why I think is we're kind of bordering the Karoo. So we're bordering the area of drought and the area where there are sufficient water. The risk of rain and all the other risks are lower here, and we get a higher sugar in the fruit.
Up until a few years ago, white flesh nectarines were by far the favorite of South Africans, and it's because white flesh is sweet, nice and juicy, and also because at that stage, yellow flesh nectarines had a high acid content and some people like that, but to most South Africans it wasn't really a pleasurable eating experience. So we said to them, we've got magnificent eating quality white flesh nectarines. They're very sweet. They don't really have a great flavor, whereas we knew that the yellow flesh nectarines with a very low acid, high sugars, had a much better fruity flavor. So we've worked with them over the last couple of years in bringing in these what we call sub-acid varieties, planting them, and they're now almost fully available on our counters from the very first time this season. And they were so good that we knew we had to market them differently. And we came up with the name Flavourburst, and the name says it all. They do burst with flavor. We're very strict on the amount of the eating quality, the flavor, but also on the amount of sugar. And we're reaping the rewards of that, as are our farmers, because they followed our intuition and what our customers wanted. And now they're able to sell more volume of those varieties.
So the higher sugars in the fruit, or the better flavor, is due to we get less rainfall. It's about 320 millimeters a year of rainfall. And in Ceres, which is 9 kilometers away, you get about 1,200. So it's less rainfall on the soil, and the soil is more rocky. So you have a bit of more control of the water content in the soil.
In Graaff, we try to stay in the market with good quality fruits. So we have trial blocks on all the 3 farms. There we manage cultivars we want to plant on that specific the farm. We look at the sugar, we look at the color, we look at how big the fruit is, and then we decide if we're going to plant it or not. What I like about Graaff, we have 3 farms in a low-till area, in a mid-till area, and in a high-till area. We can deliver fruits right through the year because we have the early market. We can deliver there. Then we come in the first week, late December at Lassoff, and then the Redfontein start late January.
So Farming for the Future started many years ago, and it started where we just looked at 1 or 2 aspects of farming as such, and then in the pack house, and subsequently has grown tremendously, where we're looking at a number of aspects of activities that happen on a farm. So if you buy fruit or vegetables or salad items at Woolworths and it's got the little Farming for the Future logo on it, you can be almost guaranteed that the farm where that product is produced has looked after all the aspects that we monitor in farming for the future, with a view that in generations to come, we will still be farming on that property, that will move down the generations, and that we'll be leaving it in as good or even better condition than what it was originally found in.
Yes, I think farming for the future is a great concept which we've bought into wholeheartedly. It also aligns with our values, and our team on the farm and the pack house have really bought into the whole concept, and it means a lot to us that we have achieved gold status, because it gives us recognition as well, which we really appreciate. It starts with water, which is a scarce resource, a very scarce resource in South Africa. So it's the utilization of water, using less to get more fruit. Also, the condition of the water, looking after our water sources, and after we've used the water, the wastewater, what happens to that. And I think fundamentally soil, that it's got long-term sustainability in organic content, that we're not depleting the soils of their natural nutrients. And that's very important, because we've seen that in many farms where the soils have been depleted and it's no longer worthwhile farming on those soils.
We were kind of pressured to make the most of the water, because we don't have a lot. And I think it all starts with that. If you have a scarcity of something, you kind of control it better. So the first thing is to measure it. Measure how many water we get in and how much we use through water meters and flow rates. So how to use it sustainably, you can't do it by yourself. So I think the water stewardship program that Woolworths and the WWF launched, I think it was in 2001, it was a while ago, that actually teach us how to measure the water. So we don't measure the water in millimeters or liters as normally. We measure it in the amount of liters per fruit we are producing. So that is our gauge. So it's more about the efficiency of the orchards than using the water. So now in our planning, we're planning orchards that use water more efficiently, better rootstocks, better variety. So the more fruit you get from a hectare, the better your water consumption is. So through measurement and through planning, I think planning is very underestimated.
We believe that in terms of sustainability, we are leaders. And so farming for the future, it's not only us that says we're leaders. International universities have looked at our model and are supporting us with the Farming for the Future initiative. They've looked at what we do. We know we're world leaders. Other countries and other retailers have copied it. And so it's not just cheap talk. It's based on science. It's based on evidence that we've gathered, and it's been verified by people internationally to say that we are leaders in this field.
Absolutely incredible, and Woolworths is focused on innovation and farming with tomorrow in mind, making sure that you get quality and flavor. You can shop the Flavourburst range exclusively at Woolworths, on store, online, as well as the Woolies app.